Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. By request, I'm going to be painting some forget-me-nots today. And this was, I did it a couple times and I was just trying to get it to a place where I was happy with it. And then I did a tutorial and this is how it came out and I wasn't that happy with it. So I decided I would try it on some different paper. I'm using 4 inktense pencils. I'll just scribble them out over here in the margins because I don't need to use that much space. I have iris blue, beach green, madder brown, and golden yellow. And I'll just brush over them so you can kind of see what they look like there. And we're going to be mixing our colors from these. You can see that brown is really quite red, so I am able to represent the primary colors here, even though they're not your typical primaries. You still got them. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to start by sketching out the flowers with my pencils. And to begin, I'm going to let's start with my yellow. The yellow centers on 1, because I don't want to end up with flowers that are overlapping too badly. So I'm just going to get their little heart-shaped petals in here. Well, they got a little bit of a heart shape to them, and they can vary a little bit. I like to have a nice big petal area to work in. I'll put one over here. Petal can kind of go in the gap. There, make sure we get. So to space them around evenly, I'll kind of do 2 across from each other, but a little bit closer on one side, so I have room for 1, and then I can squeeze in the other 2 over here. That's just a little trick I learned along the way. And we'll get this last one up here. And this is actually going to be pretty easy because I'll be able to just liquefy these lines afterwards, so I won't have any lines showing, and some of my work will be done for me. Sometimes I find it's quicker to paint with watercolors. Sometimes I find a picture lends itself a little bit better to the watercolor pencils. I'm using Inktense by Derwent. They are a very vivid colored pencil. And while I'm at it here, I'm actually going to go in and add some of the blue. I have to be careful not to press too hard because my pencils are a little damp because I was using them a few minutes ago on the video that's not going to be uploaded because it just didn't turn out very well. And we all have those days, you know, we all have those days where we're just missing the mark. So, you know, I'll show you my missed the mark. Well, when I missed the mark, it was that one right there. It didn't come out very good. So, yeah, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to share. My daughter did a very pretty one though. Lila made that one. Isn't that cute? Hopefully that turned out. She saw it. We'll see. And it's funny how like some things can be inspiring to some people because I was just working at this at my table and I was like, oh, can I paint that too? So as soon as I was done, I just kind of got up to go make dinner, and she sat down with my supplies and made that, and you know, without any instruction, just looking at what I had done, and I thought that was really cool. All right, I am going to throw in a stem here, and look, when I draw a stem, I just kind of bring it through like that, so that I kind of keep that. I keep a line. I don't, you know, you don't want to just kind of have it here and sticking out there and sticking out there. You want to kind of bring that line out so that you end up with something that is realistic and feels like it belongs and not things just floating around in space like a bunch of weirdness. And then I'm going to put the, I'm going to put some buds here. I'm going off the edge, but that's alright because I've got that nice deckled edge on my paper, so if it does come out great and I decide I want to frame it or mount it or something, I can mount it on a colored paper or a matte board, and then I can matte over that so I can still have that pretty look there. Alright, I am not going to do a background on this just because of time's sake. but I could, you know, I could go and paint around it, but sometimes I find when I go in and try to put a background in after, it gets very fussy looking, and I don't really care for that. So that's why I'm not going to do that. And I think I'm ready to start adding some water. How exciting! Just try to have fun with it, really. I mean, that's my best advice, I think, for anybody that is wanting to learn how to paint. You know, find something that you really want to paint. I don't think anything is any harder or easier to paint, but things that you really like, they're gonna be a lot easier for you because you're gonna enjoy them. Sometimes you get requests. I get a lot of requests to do tutorials, and I keep a list in my day planner. And when I, you know, have the time or inclination, then I'll go ahead and do one. Some just, you know, sometimes I get asked to do one, and it just doesn't. I'm not feeling it yet, so I kind of have to wait until I'm feeling inspired to paint that, or it just won't turn out very well. I've learned that over the years. All right, I'm gonna start liquefying this. This paper I'm working on is a soft press watercolor paper, so it's not as rough as a cold press, it's not as smooth as a hot press, but I wanted it because the watercolor cards I was working on, I felt like my paint was kind of lifting. I was getting these hard edges that I didn't like, and I thought for something like this, a flower that's this simple, it should be on a it's funny, it's hard to explain. You just know your paper after a while. You get to know it, and you just know, like, well, this paper isn't great if I want to be lifting and working and moving my paint around, but for something that I kind of, it's simple and I want to put it down and leave it the heck alone, that's perfect for this. Now, if you, I did get into my wet yellow paint there, so if I want to keep that from going green on my petals, all I have to do is just lift it, just dab it. Never rub your paper, always just lift. I'm feeling kind of mellow tonight. I'm not sure why I'm feeling so mellow. Probably because it's nighttime. Lindsay's winding down. People ask me, do you ever sleep? Oh my gosh, you're always, you know, putting new stuff on YouTube or doing something on your blog or doing this or doing that. I tell you, I sleep, and I'm like one of these 8-hour night sleepers, and the minute I sit down at night, if I'm watching TV or something, I zonk. I fall right asleep. It's when my head hits a pillow at night, I am out, generally. Now, I think I might want a little bit stiffer of a brush because that's not really moving my pigment that much. So I'm going to go to this synthetic Royal Langnickel brush, which will help push the paint around a little bit. I was having problems with watercolor cards and my other examples. Trying to paint this picture because it was moving around too much, and I was getting all these hard lines, and I didn't want hard lines. I wanted this to be more soft and simple. Now, if you get yourself in a situation where you've painted and you feel like you're kind of done the painting, but you're missing some definition, or you don't care for something, maybe you feel like you don't have enough contrast or enough shadows or just something, it's just not, you're not happy with it and you feel like tossing it. Before you toss it, look in your stash and see if you have any colored pencils and add some color pencil to it, to the dry paper, just regular colored pencil, not watercolor pencil, but just, you know, start going over it in areas with colored pencil, and a lot of times you can rescue a painting that you think is no good. And sometimes you might realize that's a technique you really like if I'm painting glass, like a mason jar or something, I like to go in and put nice white highlights with a white colored pencil. It works really well. Now, so you can usually, I shouldn't say always, you can usually go in and rescue something. I'm going to put a little detail on these. I want to see the petals on some of these blooms, so I'm just making a few little lines in there. Hope you can see that. Oh, we're not even at 10 minutes yet. We're cooking with fire tonight. We're cooking with a space heater. I got a space heater under my desk. Holy moly, it's been so cold. And I had the fireplace going today. We have a wood stove and a fireplace, and that's, so it's nice and toasty in the living room, but the rest of the house is freezing. I was out at the desktop computer and writing a blog post, and I'm just like, holy moly, it's cold out here. I've got to go do something else. Sorry, Blogland. Lindsay's cold. I know, so many disappointed people out there. Oh, yes, I'm getting silly. So I'm just gonna wet these. That's all I'm gonna do to those. And call it good. I feel like I want a little more green on the stem, and I feel like I want the stem to be a little bit more organic looking. So what I'm going to do here, and I don't care if I get some spatters because I do like spatters, so might as well just kill two birds with one stone there. I'm loading up my brush, and I'm just going to kind of do some broken lines with the green. Because sometimes I feel the pencil work gets a little too tight. I like a looser kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, looser kind of approach. And I'll do that with, I'm going to add some yellow to that too to warm it up. Even though their stalks aren't really that warm, I prefer a little bit warmer of a green. So, you know, and that's just a personality thing. You can do whatever you like. And a little bit of brown, that reddish brown. A little bit of that here and there. Especially down towards the bottom to give a little visual weight. Okay, now I feel like I want a little bit of a shadow, and I think what I can do actually right over here in the corner, I think I'll just mix up a little bit of shadow. I'm going to be ripping that off with like a ruler, so I'm not concerned with messing up the edge, and then I'll have those little deckled edges. So I can mix that up and make a nice dark shadow. It's going to be a purpley kind of shadow. I'm going to mix that up there. And then I can go in and I can add a little shadow to some of my petals that I feel are lacking contrast. That's a little tissue here, it's a little much. Actually, I found I had a really great paintbrush I like just for putting in these little details, just because it doesn't hold too much paint. But I stuck it in my hair yesterday because it was driving me crazy. And so I put my hair in a bun, stuck that paintbrush in it, and I think I left it upstairs in the bathroom or something. I took my hair down last night. One of those things you don't think about, then you know, go take your kid to basketball practice and get a paintbrush stuck in your hair, and luckily everybody knows you're the crazy artist in town, so they don't really question you. And yeah, you can keep it pretty simple. But because that brown is kind of red, I can use that to mix very well. There's some shadows in the little buds here. Oops, you know what? Sorry about that. Can't see that. That zoomed in a little too close, probably. Just throwing in some shadows in there. That's all. You didn't really miss anything. I think I want to put a couple more little buds here, though, because that's it. I don't like that stem, so we disguise it. You know, like something? You paint a bud on top of it. That's a little dark. Press that off. Alright. A little stem there. Okay, so sometimes I have a hard time telling when to quit. And I know a lot of people have that problem when we paint, especially if it's not something we're comfortable painting or used to painting. My first time painting Forget-Me-Nots today. And you know, it's like I want to turn them into an orchid or something. I want to turn them into something different because I like big fluffy petals. And so I kind of have to be like, no, it's not an iris. It's not, it's not all these other flowers that you want to turn it into. It's a forget-me-not, and it's simple. And just to kind of know when to quit can be very difficult. But I also think it's very important to try different things. And, you know, if somebody asks me to paint something I've never painted before, heck yeah. Nothing bad's gonna come of that. I mean, I might have a crappy video, but that's probably about it. That's the worst that can happen. That's not that bad. And I'm gonna call that done, I think. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment and I'll get back to you if you're concerned or you're wondering what I used at any stage here. Go ahead and leave a comment and I will get back to you. And if you did enjoy this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will show you the other little examples that I had there. Look at that. My desk isn't completely trashed. A couple other examples, just in case you're looking for something different. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, happy crafting.